Hello dear students, my name is Mandu Mbembai. Today we are going to have a grammar lesson on reported speech. This is the text that we will use to exemplify the use of reported speech. It is the story of a pet rescue. Class, can you tell me what is a pet? Aminata? Great. A pet is an animal that is in the house. Example, dogs or cats. Mrs. Gay had lost her cat for 2 days, and she was so worried. She went to see her neighbor Marcel Sarr, and they had a conversation. Now, based on the story you have in the text, try to write the conversation between Mrs. Gay and Marcel, and then between Mrs. Gay and the fire officer. This is what we have. Mrs. Gay: I haven't seen Mimi for 2 days. Marcel: I know where she is. I saw her in the morning. Mrs. Gay: what do you think I should do? Marcel: why don't you phone the fire brigade? Now the conversation between the fire officer and Mrs. Gay. Where is your cat? Mrs. Gay: she is in a tall tree in the street. The fire officer: what does she like eating? Mrs. Gay: she likes sardines. The fire officer: have you got any sardines? Mrs. Gay: yes, here they are. The fire officer: don't frighten her. Mrs. Gay: thank you very much. This is the conversation between Marcel and Mrs. Gay, and then the conversation between Mrs. Gay and the fire officer. You can easily notice that in the text, the reporter or the narrator of the text is using reported speech to tell us what Mrs. Gay said to Marcel Sarr and what Marcel Sarr said to Mrs. Gay, what the fire officer said to Mrs. Gay, and what Mrs. Gay said to the fire officer. In the dialogue, you have a reported speech in which the writer uses exactly Mrs. Gay's words and Marcel's words. And then in the second conversation between Mrs. Gay and the fire officer, the writer uses the exact words of the fire officer and the exact words of Mrs. Gay. So, in the text, you have an indirect speech, and in the dialogue, you have a direct speech. Example of a direct speech: Mrs. Gay. Mrs. Gay said, I haven't seen Mimi for 2 days. Here, the writer uses exactly Mrs. Gay's words. In indirect speech, Mrs. Gay said that she hadn't seen Mimi for 2 days. This that you have in the indirect speech is not compulsory. It can be omitted. You can have Mrs. Gay said she hadn't seen Mimi for 2 days. You see, in the direct speech, I haven't seen Mimi for 2 days. What is the tense? What is the tense that the speaker has used? Masamba? Excellent. It is the present perfect. In indirect speech, you can notice that the present perfect that you have in direct speech will change into past perfect. Why? Because we use most of the time reported speech to talk about past events. That is why the tense changes. We have in direct speech, I haven't seen Mimi for 2 days. In indirect speech, Mrs. Gay said she hadn't seen Mimi for 2 days. What other change do you notice from direct speech to indirect speech? Yes, Rosalie? Great. The personal pronoun I you have in indirect speech changes into third person pronoun, third person singular. The pet cat, Mimi, she, Mrs. Gay, I'm very sorry, Mrs. Gay, she hadn't. I haven't seen my pet cat for 2 days. Mrs. Gay said that she. So, the first person pronoun, singular, becomes third person singular in indirect speech. She hadn't seen Mimi for 2 days. Present perfect, past perfect. First person pronoun, third person pronoun. Let's move. Direct speech. Marcel Sarr said, I know where it is. I saw her in the morning. In indirect speech, you have Marcel Sarr said that. I told you a while that that is not compulsory. Marcel Sarr said he knew where Mimi was. He saw her in the morning. Mrs. Gay, direct speech. What do you think I should do? What type of sentence do you have here? Yes, Hawa? Great. This is a question. What type of question? Yes, Jean. Great. This is a W8 questions. In W8 questions, we have what, why, where, and the how question. How many, how often, how much. Here you have a question. How to report a question. Mrs. Gay asked, instead of using here the reporting verb said, here we use ask. Mrs. Gay asked what she should do. Now, from direct speech to indirect speech, when it comes to WH question, you use ask, and the WH question is repeated. Mrs. Gay asked what she should do. Mrs. Gay asked Marcel Sarr what she should do. Marcel, why don't you call the fire brigade? Is it a question here? Yes. Mrs. Ndoye? Excellent. Even if you have the interrogation mark, this is not actually a question, this is a suggestion. Marcel suggested to Mrs. Gay to call the fire brigade. This is a suggestion instead of a question. Marcel suggested her to call the fire brigade. You notice that the use of said can be changed. We can use other reporting verbs. Now, from direct speech to indirect speech, you have in direct speech, Mrs. Gay, can you please help me rescue my pet cat? This becomes, Mrs. Gay asked the fire officer if he could help her rescue her pet cat. What type of question do you have here? Can you please help me rescue my pet cat? Yes, John? Very good. This is a yes or no, a yes or no question, or a polite request. Here you have from direct speech to indirect speech. If it is a yes or no question, we are not going to repeat we are not going to repeat can, or like in WH questions, we are not going to repeat the WH question. Here we are going to use if. Mrs. Gay asked the fire officer if he could help her. Here also you can easily notice that there is a change in tenses. Can you help me? Can, present, and could, the preterite of can. Can you help me rescue my cat? Mrs. Gay asked the fire officer if he could help her rescue her pet cat. The fire officer, where is your cat? This is a yes. Jai? Thank you very much. Excellent. This is a WH question. Where is your cat? Direct speech. Under indirect speech, the fire officer asked Mrs. Gay where her cat was. Where is your cat? The verb to be here is in. Yes, is in. Great. In present simple. The fire officer asked Mrs. Gay where her cat was. You notice that the simple present becomes past simple. The fire officer, do you have any sardines? Do you have any sardines? This is a yes or no question. And I told you a while that in yes or no question we use if. The fire officer asked Mrs. Gay if she had any sardines. The fire officer, don't frighten the cat. Is it a question? Yes. Amadou? Excellent. This is not a question, this is an order. The fire officer, in indirect speech, the fire officer commanded Mrs. Gay not to frighten the cat. Now let's see the changes in tenses. From direct speech to indirect speech, there are changes in tenses. For example, if you have in direct speech the simple present, the present simple, in indirect speech you will have the past simple. For example, Marcel said, I see the cat. Marcel said that. Marcel said he saw the cat. Present continuous in indirect speech becomes past continuous in indirect speech. Example, Mrs. Gay said, I am looking for my cat. Mrs. Gay said that she was looking for her cat. Present perfect in direct speech, past perfect in indirect speech. Mrs. Gay, I have seen the cat. I have seen the cat. Present perfect becomes past perfect. Marcel said that she had seen the cat. Simple past. Marcel said, I saw the cat in the morning. Here you can have I saw the cat. Marcel said that he saw the cat in the morning, or Marcel said that he had seen the cat in the morning. Now let's move to the changes in tense. Past continuous, past perfect continuous. Mrs. Gay said, I was looking for my cat. Mrs. Gay said that she had been looking for her cat. Simple future. Marcel promised, we will find the cat. Marcel promised that they would find the cat. Here you have future simple future that become conditional. Will becomes would, and the models can, have to, can becomes could, have to, had to, imperative form, infinitive form. Now, changes in expressions of time and place. From direct speech to indirect speech, I told you that we use reported speech to talk about past event. So, for sure, there will have some changes in expression of times and expression of place. Today becomes that day. Tonight becomes that night. Yesterday becomes the day before or the previous day. Tomorrow, the day after, the following day, the next day. And now becomes then. Now let's recapitulate. There are two types of reported speech: direct speech and indirect speech. Direct speech repeats the words the person used exactly. It repeats exactly the words the person used. For example, Mrs. Gay said, I haven't seen Mimi for 2 days. In the indirect speech, the original speaker's words are changed. So here you use indirect speech to tell what the speaker has said using your own word, but you don't change the meaning. The meaning is there, but the words are changed. Mrs. Gay said that she hadn't seen Mimi for 2 days. Reporting verb. Class, what is a reporting verb? Excellent, Aminata. A reporting verb is a verb that is used to indicate that the discourse is being quoted or paraphrased. The most usual verbs, reporting verbs, are say and tell, or sometimes when we're dealing with questions, we use asked. But there are other reporting verbs. Say may be followed by the indirect complement, always preceded by the preposition to. Tell is always followed by the indirect complement without preposition. For example, Mary said she was tired. Mary said to her mother she was tired. Mary told her mother with tell. Mary told her mother she was tired. In statement, we use the following reporting verbs: admit, agree, answer, apologize, boast, claim, complain, declare, deny, explain, insist, offer, refuse, remind. In questions, you have inquire, request, want to know, and ask. When talking about orders, you use verbs like demand, order, shout, threaten, warn. If it is an insistent request, you use the verb to beg. In other functions, you can use advise. If you give a piece of advice, or if you give advice, here you say advice, that is with C, that is plural. If you want to talk about one, you say a piece of advice. Invite, suggest, recommend. In statement, when the statement is affirmative or negative, when reporting these type of sentences, you have to take into consideration the changes in personal pronouns, demonstrative determiners, and verbal tenses and adverbial expression of time and place. Now let's practice. I will give you an exercise. The instruction is, yesterday you paid a visit to your friend Ellen. Report what she said. As an example, I am thinking of going to live in France. Here you have a direct speech. In direct speech, Ellen said she was thinking of going to live in France. Based on this example I gave you, can do the rest of the exercise. My father is at the hospital. I haven't seen Dauda for a while. Ami and Musa are getting married next month. Sandra has a baby. Now, let's see if you have made it or not. Here is the answer key. Ellen said, for the first sentence, Ellen said that her father was at the hospital. Ellen said she hadn't seen Dauda for a while. Second sentence. Sentence number 3. Ellen said Ami and Musa were getting married the following month. Next month. Ellen said Sandra had a baby. Thank you very much, class. Stay at home and keep on respecting the preventive measures issued by the sanitary authorities. For further details, if you have questions, so feel free to send it on the forum. Goodbye.